Say, so. Say.
Alright guys, let's get into this lovely new podcast that we are doing today. Certainly, here are some situations and topics, I'm about to talk about, maybe discuss today. I could talk about drug trafficking and addiction, white collar crime, social injustice, domestic abuse, financial exploitation, human trafficking, environmental crimes, political corruption. Everybody be like, oh, no, I don't want to talk about this and talk about that. But listen, all the stuff that we used to learn in school, it all equals up to now. All equals up to everything now. The stuff that we said we didn't need, the stuff that we said we didn't, want to get into and all that stuff like that, but it all equals up to now. But, yeah, I just find it crazy that, it's just a lot that's going on out in the world. It's a lot to talk about. So doing these podcasts it should be easy, right? No, right, wrong. But anyway, hey guys, how y'all doing out there? How y'all feeling? Let me introduce myself. First of all, I did go by M-hazey, probably still do. They call me M-hazey. It was M-hazey dollars, I was young, things happen, what I mean? Now I'm really M-hazey Adonis, but actually I'm going through tattoo removal. The tattoo is getting a little lighter. We're trying to get it off. I don't know. It ain't nothing to change, It ain't nothing to start new. I had dreads. I used to carry the braids all the time. I'm starting to change. You see, I'm starting to get into myself, Black History Month and all that stuff like that. We've been getting into it, but, as you get older, you start really, really understanding it, that it means something, So, but, I don't mean to get too sentimental, guys. We here to have some fun, pick y'all brains, talk about things that, most people don't want to talk about or share. So, I'm not going to go all the way in. I think these podcasts is only going to be about roughly 10, 15, 20 minutes, just me talking. Just trying to get my podcast to get some traction. I just need some traction. But, and don't mind my white people voice, or whatever you want to call it, Caucasian voice. It's not really Caucasian white people voice. It's just speaking at a moderate tone, moderate profession of saying the words and articulating things. That's it, because sometimes we don't understand. Some people can't even talk like this. Some people won't talk like that. They won't be straight up. They won't, articulate things. But that's cool. Everybody's different, You'll catch me being, talking slang every once in a while. It's just in people nature. That's all, It's just however you feel at that moment. Everybody's has different social backgrounds and demographic backgrounds. Mine's, my demographic background, if you look on my YouTube channel, I might do it over again, but I do have a lot of things in my DNA. So it's split, different regions, different percentages. Yeah, they got my ancestors, y'all. They definitely did. They definitely got my ancestors, but it's okay. We all share. We made it somehow. But let's get to, you know what? I want to address the social injustice for real. I know y'all probably like, dang, what he know about social injustice? I have to know. Listen, I'm in America. I've been arrested a lot. Most of the times it was, me, my stupidity, my anger, my things that got me in trouble. Yeah, I did have a little slip up in 2016, and that was a relationship problem. That was like stemmed from a lot of violence and ongoing problems that I seen in my life, and that's what we're here to get into, guys. The podcast. This is the new podcast, guys. And you already know this podcast is the Off Limits podcast. And we're going to be exploring crime, social injustice. We're going to be going over the areas of domestic abuse. We're going to be going over the areas of drug trafficking. Yeah, I decided we're going to keep it real, man. My son was crying. But yeah, I get it though. Because they trying to say, like, basically, how would you feel if these crimes were committed to your kids and sons? But I was just a kid myself. You know what I mean? That's what I can blame it on. I'm not saying I was racially profiled with the strangulation and the suffocate, but they made it so freaking terrible how they sounded. So, and I pled guilty to that. I should have just kept fighting it. Because it's no way I'm strangling and suffocating somebody in the middle of a store and they not, and nobody jumping on me, and it's a woman. Granted, I did grab her and stuff like that. Because we was tussling. We was freaking... She's bigger than me. You know what I mean? And we had a little, argument. Granted, I would have been like, okay, yeah, I did grabbed her by her shirt and stuff like that, but no suffocation. You know what I mean? I grabbed her by her shirt tight. And I was like, come on, we getting out this store. Because we was all stealing. And we had an argument, but...
We're sorry, the number you have dialed is not in service
like
at this
crazy.
time.
And I'm like, I didn't get it until, like, when I seen it on my record. I'm like, strangulation and suffocation. Like, come on now. Like, why would I freaking be suffocating somebody in a store? Like, suffocating is, like, you're suffocating somebody for freaking more than 30 seconds. Like, I don't do that. Like, why would I do that? I wasn't even freaking on drugs. And that's another thing. And what they have in my freaking my profile, or my I forgot what they call it, but PSI, I said that to freaking get a drug program and get out of jail. I was just trying to use the system how to use us. Honestly, you know what I mean? Those was those times. They already got us. They already got me in the system, So, but I did some things, Oh yeah, and I was definitely profiled with the robbery. And I know that's why they probably like, oh yeah, it's good. That's why we made this decision. But at the end of the day, I know I didn't do no robbery. You know what I mean? So I kind of looked it up. Robbery is when you have any physical touch or contact when you when you're stealing something for somebody's establishment. Granted, I did take something, but when they caught me, I gave it back. The reason why I didn't contest this because they scared me with like 5 years. They were like, oh yeah, we're gonna give you the maximum amount, 5 years for this, 5 years for that, 5 years for this. I'm like, well, these people, and I'm sitting in there with people that got 15, 20 years. So of course, I'm like, yeah, let me get out of here and let me take this. But I took their little plea agreement, but the robbery, no. That was like more of a racial profiling for me. I feel like that way because it was 2 white women, and they caught me stealing, and yes, I gave back some of the stuff. Yes. They wanted me to stay for the police, and I didn't stay. I ran. But everything after that was a lie. They chased me. They fell. One fell trying to chase me. I didn't touch them. If you look at the cameras, I didn't touch nobody. I didn't touch nobody. I did not touch nobody. And I can literally say that. I didn't rob nobody. I didn't take anything. I didn't touch nobody. I gave them back their stuff after I got caught. I was red-handed. But I did run afterwards. Yes. You know, but that's here nor there. But these charges, they messed up my life, y'all. But what I want to say is, we do get racially profiled. You know, people that got tags on them. What I mean by tags, people that got charges on them. And people that look up my ethnicity or urban, or, you know, they get tags and they get profiled in certain situations. I'm not saying everything, you know, wasn't my fault, but this is ridiculous. As I look at my days of learning. I say learning because this is a life lesson. This is learning. I was learning. These is my learning stages. But they did deny me length of criminal history. They saying my length of criminal history was long. The seriousness of my offenses would be diminished by expungement or criminal history. So they just basically saying the seriousness of the crime would be diminished by expungement. So they're saying it's too serious to diminish right now, to be expunged. So they're saying it's something that's already in the past. It's too serious to forget. You know, so to forget half of the stuff that they freaking made up and said that I did, it made it worse, and basically racially profiled me and said, hey, you was being a bad guy. You thought you was cool. You thought you was the bomb. You thought you was the stuff. No, I had problems, yes, granted. I had problems. I was searching. I was jumping from home to home. I was living with freaking girlfriends. They was using me. I was trying to use them. Yeah, I had little problems. I had domestic issues, maybe, yeah. I give them that. But when you're in this type of situation, you're living this type of life, you have those. Was I in a gang? No. Did I ever had a gun? No. Did I ever shoot a gun? No. Did I ever sold drugs? No. Did I do drugs? Yes, I smoked weed. I did, I popped some sort of pills. I did freaking, I smoked Hemi before, you know what I mean? I drunk, that's it. I wasn't no cokehead. I wasn't none of that. I didn't smoke crack or nothing. I didn't have to do all that, but you know what I mean? I was around people who was doing it. So, but what I mean by racially profiling, guys, this type of stuff is just, some of this stuff was like it was like a stimulation from my my background and my tags. So I do have to, you know, say that I am sorry to some of the victims that I was, you know, that had to deal with some certain things on my stuff. Alright, guys. We'll see y'all next podcast. We're gonna touch some things. I know I didn't get into everything, but I love y'all.
So, say yeah, 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 hazy, yeah, 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 yeah. It's not a quit. Yeah, 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 running all over. Yeah, 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 yeah. Look up at the street light. Look up at the street light. I'm in the. Look up at the street. Look up at the street light. Look up at the street light. Look up at the street light. It's not a question. Look up at the street light. Look up at the street light. It's not a question.